great. So we're going to talk about one of my favorite things today, math fact fluency with addition and subtraction. So every time I do a training like this or something similar, I keep hoping that this will turn out differently, that I will Google math fact fluency and something different will pop up. But I did this morning, and these three images are what popped up. And too often, these types of worksheets and quizzes and sprints are what people equate with knowing your facts. And you may personally have memories of sheets like these being used when you were in school. Maybe you had a classroom experience like my dear friend Julie Adams. You were awesome at flashcard drills. You couldn't wait to dominate the around the world games because you were just fantastic at memorizing. Or maybe you had a different experience and worksheets like these give you a very visceral response. It gives you anxiety at the mention of time test, and you never got all the scoops in your ice cream cup outside on the bulletin board outside your classroom because you just couldn't get past your 3s or 4s. Speed and getting the correct answer is often the focus of many fluency worksheets and activities, but fast does not equal fluent. We have to work together as mathematicians to change the narrative of what it means to be fluent in math facts. So what is fluency? Building a student's procedural fluency means we're no longer just focusing on the correct answer. Basic fact fluency has 4 parts, and the first part is accuracy, because of course we want our kids to get the correct answer, but we can't stop there. If we end with just memorization, students have only one connection and only one avenue to solve the problem. So memorizing 121 isolated facts is incredibly difficult to do. And then just imagine adding on the subtraction facts and the multiplication facts and the division facts. And if a student who relies only on memorization doesn't know the answer, then what are they going to do? They might fall back to the only other thing they have to fall back on, which is counting. So that leads us to the second part of what it means to be procedurally fluent, and that is efficiency. We want our students to be efficient. Students don't have to have the fact memorized, but they need to be able to answer it within a reasonable amount of time. And most research puts that at about 3 seconds. So think of 6 plus 7. A student might not know that fact, but they can relate it back to the double of 6 plus 6 that they know, which is 12. And then they just need to add one more. And all that takes place very quickly in the student's mind. So it's quick and efficient. And the part of fact fluency that time tests and many of our curriculum materials don't assess is this next part, which is flexibility. And flexibility is the heart of being procedurally fluent. When a student is flexible, they have many avenues of thinking and tools in their belt to find the answers accurately and efficiently. They use strategies like doubles plus 1, make a 10, pretend a 10, and they apply those strategies across many problems. They let the numbers whisper to them to uncover the strategy that best fits the problem. And that leads into the appropriate strategy selection. So take that fact 6 plus 7. A student could use the pretend to 10 strategy, add 10 plus 7, and then subtract 4. But you have to think, was that the most appropriate and efficient strategy for the problem? So all of those aspects go into making a procedurally fluent student. And our executive director, Kelly DeLong, it really struck me when she said something. She said that fact fluency has become a matter of equity for students. Math is too often a gatekeeper to mathematics. Fact fluency is often a gatekeeper to mathematics when it should be a gateway. So we definitely don't want our students to not be able to get to higher mathematics because so much of their working memory is taken up with figuring out the basic facts. So we need to provide students with experiences to build that procedural fluency so their working memory is freed up and they can pursue those higher mathematics, which also leads to higher sciences and later on in the future. So looking at our standards, and our standards want us to build procedural fluency from conceptual understanding, and effective teaching of math builds fluency with that foundation of conceptual understanding. So students, over time, it's not in a unit, it's not in a week, it takes a whole year for your students to master what is within their standards to do. They need to be skillful in using procedures flexibly as they solve contextual and mathematical problems. And you can see that within our standards, each year builds upon the previous ones. Looking just at what our little kindergartners need to know, they're representing addition and subtraction. They're using objects and fingers and mental images and drawings and sounds, acting out situations, verbal explanations, expressions, equations. Then they're going to start moving into more additive thinking, and they're going to be counting on, referencing a 10, relating to known facts, starting to think about those foundational facts, definitely starting to master those foundational facts and moving on to some of the derived facts. And then by the time they're in second grade, getting a handle on all those derived facts and using those mental strategies. Okay, so fluency develops in 3 phases. The first phase is counting, and students need to start out counting. They need to count objects, they need to count aloud, they need to use 10 frames, record racks, lots of manipulatives to support that visual connection to counting. And those visuals support students as they begin to develop mental images for their facts. If you missed Julie's mini lesson on choral counting and counting collections, go back to the KCM website and check that out. Lisa also has a mini lesson on how to make a bead rack, and those will help your students cement all those foundational facts and move into deriving facts. So thinking about counting, how might a student who is in the counting stage answer the problem 7 plus 8? And I would love if anybody would just unmute and kind of think about how would somebody answer 7 plus 8 if they're in the counting strategy?
Are you looking for a counting strategy for 7 plus 8?
Yes, please, Cindy. I'm sorry. Yes.
I might start either at the 7 or 8, but a student might start at 7 and with fingers track 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, but it's taking 2 hands to keep track.
Absolutely. They might count on, or they might get manipulatives and count all. And the counting stage, are going to be doing that counting 1 by 1. Absolutely. Thank you. And we definitely, as important as counting is, we don't want students to stay there. We want to start pushing them to start thinking more sophisticatedly. And we want to start to push them to think additively and deriving answers based on the knowledge of foundational facts. As students build number sense and have many, many experiences with number, they begin to develop strategies such as making 10, pretend to 10, and near doubles. This is the phase that's often skipped in curriculums. They go right from all those pretty pictures and all that counting to bam, using the symbols and expecting mastery. But as students aren't given the time to develop these strategies, again, they only have one thing to fall back on, which is counting. So let's think about how a student, if they're in that deriving phase. So they've moved on from counting, they're into their additive thinking, they're thinking about bigger chunks. How might they solve 7 plus 8? And just to clarify, a strategy they might use to solve 7 plus 8.
Bonnie, they may use make a 10. And so they think 7, 3 more gets 3 more gets me to 10. And then I have 5 left over. And so 10 and 5 is 15. So thinking about getting to a 10 and then adding on.
Great, thank you. Doubles plus 1, 7 plus 14, 7 plus 7 is 14, so it would be 15. Absolutely. All those are great strategies a student might use that are in the deriving phase. And so that last phase we're going to move into is mastery. That is when a kid just knows the answer or they can get it within that 3-second window. We definitely want kids into the mastery phase. It just doesn't have to be exactly memorization, as long as it's within that 3-second stage, because if that's all, again, if that's all they have to anchor back to, they don't have enough tools in their tool belt to be flexible. Okay, so I talked a little bit about foundational facts and about derived facts. So if you think back to how you were taught and how I was taught, my addition facts, we started with our zeros, then we went to our ones, and then we went to our twos. And if you didn't pass the test, you were stuck on that fact group forever. But in the Math Fact Fluency book by Jenny Bay Williams, she presents this progression of facts where students should begin with the foundational facts, building on what they already have a great handle on with counting. So we're going to focus on the plus or minus 0, 1, and 2. Rick and Racks, 10 frame cards, subitizing cards, all those are great to develop those foundational facts. Then students can move on to doubles and combos of 10 and 10 plus 1, and all those can be occurring all at the same time. But once students have a great handle on those foundational facts, they've reached mastery with foundational facts, then they can start using and developing and uncovering the derived fact strategies. So you can see how the near doubles would build on knowing your doubles. So using the near double strategy would develop from knowing that. And then making a 10 and pretend a 10 comes after a great mastery of knowing all your combinations of 10 and 10 plus. So they all build on each other. In order to uncover those derived facts and to practice our foundational facts, our make a 10, our doubles, which are our derived facts, we need, and students need, substantial and enjoyable practice. So that's how we build procedural fluency in our students. We use story problems and give the numbers context. So you can see in my very first slide here, we have a clip of one of our resources for virtual math instruction. And this is just like a storyboard that we might have used in one of our face-to-face trainings, where students would get out the manipulatives and they would tell each other stories. So the storyboards give the student context for adding and subtracting and using the math facts. So we don't want to wait until the end of the unit or the end of the lesson or the last 2 problems on the workbook page to do story problems. We want to start our lessons with story problems. And Cindy has a mini lesson. I'm just plugging all the mini lessons here. Cindy has a mini lesson walking through all the virtual resources that are available on the resources for virtual math instruction on our KCM website. And I know that manipulatives are hard to come by right now and hard to clean and keep just for individual students, but we still want students working out those story problems. So this is a great alternative to that. So after stories, another great thing to use are quick looks and visuals. And these are some of my Western Kentucky teacher friends. And visuals provide students with the opportunity to see the mathematics and build connections between what they know and the facts they're trying to learn. So those patterns can be applied across mathematics and build a solid foundation that extends even beyond just the basic math facts. So in 2 of the pictures, you can see teachers leading a number talk, utilizing 10 frames, and one teacher is utilizing a bead rack. And they strategically selected the number talk to bring out the possibility of students using doubles. And then in the other one, it was a doubles +1 strategy. The third picture shows a teacher using a subitizing card. This student has circled after the teacher flashed the card and the student said how many it was. Then they went back and explained to the teacher their thinking, and they circled the 5 and the 2 to show that they were anchoring back to that 5. So those are great visuals and quick looks that help support students in learning their math hacks. And then here's my little pumpkin. He's playing some games with me. So in needing substantial and enjoyable practice, what's more fun and enjoyable than playing a game? So games are a great way to engage students in using the facts. The same worksheet you were going to give the kids with 25 math problems, you can do through a game using those same problems. It's just a more fun way to do it. So when kids are doing the games, we also have an opportunity to walk around and observe students, question them, ask them about their thinking, look at their strategies, assess what they know, and that just doesn't come with a worksheet. So worksheets only really assess accuracy and efficiency. And we've seen and looked at how the flexibility piece is really that heart of being a procedurally fluent student. So I'm very proud that KCM has partnered with the authors of Math Back Fluency, Jennifer Bay Williams and Gina Kling, to create this companion website. And this companion website has many games that will support students practicing and learning their math facts in both addition, subtraction, and in multiplication and division. And it also has some assessments on there that you can use while students are learning their math facts. So we're just going to take a quick walkthrough through our brand new Math Fact website. Okay, so you guys let me know if you don't see the math website. If I need to reshare.
We can see it.
Great, thank you, Julie, I appreciate it. Okay, so sometimes you have to reshare and sometimes it sees it, it's just magic to me. All right, so we are on our Math Fact Fluency Companion website. To get the most out of this website, you definitely need the book. You would need to go back and read some of the pedagogy that goes with the games and why you play the games. And we only have, what, 40% of the games and assessments on here. So there is so much more to the book. But here's our landing page. And you can see we have games, assessments. You can learn about the authors. And of course, you can contact us. Chapter 1 talks about the 5 fundamentals. And we'll just click here. And there's a link to the 5 fundamentals. And we've kind of already discussed those a little bit. That mastery has to focus on fluency, that fluency develops in 3 phases, the foundational facts precede the derived facts, time tests don't assess fluency, and students need substantial and enjoyable practice. So then we can go back home, and since we are focusing in on addition and subtraction, that's kind of where I'm going to start on our little walkthrough of our website. Okay, so in chapter 2, we're focusing on the foundational addition and subtraction facts. Those are those plus 0, 1, and 2, the doubles, the plus 10, and the combinations of 10. So if you click on Game 2, Bears Race to 10, you're going to see what the targeted facts are. This game targets doing plus 0, plus 1, and plus 2. And this is the game I was playing with Asher in that picture. And it gives you a little bit of background as to what the game targets and a little bit of the reasons as to why to play it and what you should be focusing on. And then as you scroll down, you'll see the teacher document, and we've provided a PDF and a Word document. We know that sometimes you need to adjust it a little bit. So you might need to put your kids' names on it or whatever you need to do. So we provided a Word document as well, so you can change it as needed. But we'll just open up the PDF teacher document, and it leads you right to the game. The very first page of the game, it gives you the background knowledge of using Bears Race to 10 for math fact fluency, the purpose of the game, the facts that it targets, then about the games of math fact fluency, and this is from Dr. Williams, and what she deems important when you are playing math fact fluency games. And then it comes to the materials. You have a little picture here of the game board and the scorecard that you're going to be looking out for the students. This is what their game board and their scorecard is going to look like. And then the materials tells you what you need. And this page is the instruction page. This is a great page to send home to families. You might want to get a manila envelope and glue that instruction page to the top, put the actual game board inside a page protector with all the game pieces that you might need. So this is kind of a standalone. You could cut this out and glue it on your page for your kids. You could use it for your parents. You could have it set out for teacher helpers, whoever that you would like to play your games with your kids. And it gives you how to play the game in action, gives you a little bit more insight into how to play the game, and then some variations. Okay, so that was the teacher document. And in coordination with that is the student document. And the very first page is going to be the game board for the students. And the students just needed a number line here, basically. So you can see the first number line. And then there's a scorecard. And students who are just learning the +0, +1, +2, scorecard might not be appropriate for them. My son is just 5, so he's just learning how to do that and write those numbers. So that might not be appropriate for him. But as you continue on, students can relate the concrete moving of the bears to the abstract equation. And there's player 2 scorecard. There's also a vertical number line if you want to use that variation. And then a number line to 20. And you have to do a little bit for this one. You just have to cut out the strips and glue it so you can have a larger number line. Oh, sun's going down. Looks like I'm in the dark, doesn't it? Okay, and then something I'm really excited about is our Jam board. So if you click here, you'll be prompted to make a copy of our game. Just click and make a copy. And then a virtual version of our game will come up with the virtual version of Bears Race to 10. The very first page is the directions page because we had to tweak it a little to move it from in-person using manipulatives to online virtual, but the game is basically the same. Then you're going to scroll over to the game board and you have a manipulative little bear that you can move. So the 2-player game, you have a sentence stem here for kids who are ready to use the vocabulary of plus and equals. To get the cards, to like draw a card, you're just going to select the card, hit delete, and your card will be displayed. So this player got a +2, so they're going to hop 2. They're going to explain their thinking. I started at 0. I know 0 + 2 = 2, so I get to hop to a 2, and so on with the other player. Then the very last part, and this website is still a work in progress. So we are adding videos. We might be adding Spanish version. We might be adding videos of us actually playing the physical game. So all that is yet to come. So it is a work in progress. But if you click on this, if there is a video there, it's a how to play the Jamboard. So if you're not exactly sure how to manipulate the Jamboard, click that video. Or better yet, go watch one of the KCM mini lessons provided by Cindy that teaches you all about Jamboard. Okay, so then we'll go back to home. And there's 2 other games within chapter 2, doubles, bingo, and erase. Then you can come down to chapter 3, and there are several games for the derived fact strategies for addition and subtraction. And if you look over to the left, it will tell you exactly what operations it targets. So some of them just target the addition facts, and some of them target the addition and subtraction facts. So there are a lot of multiplication games as well. But another exciting thing that Kelly worked so hard on is the assessment tools. So if you click on chapter 6, and you're going to use our games as an opportunity to assess, which is a fantastic thing to do. You might go into your book into chapter 6, which is about assessing foundational facts, and say, okay, I'm going to assess some foundational facts. What tool can I use? And there's a PDF file with an explanation of assessment tools, how to use the 2-prompt interview protocol, which is this assessment tool, and all of these cards, which you'll use to assess the foundational facts. This is looking for automaticity of +0, +1, +2. And then going on to the multiplication. And then the sheet where you record all that information, which is great for parent-teacher conferences or sharing information with the stakeholders for your student. And there's also an Excel spreadsheet that you can download, and you can put your student's name in, and that is just a great way to keep up with all of that information. Student's name, their fact, the strategy they use, as an alternative to using the sprints and the Mad Minutes. You might opt to use one of those. And Math Fluency for Families, there's more to come in that chapter as well. Okay. To our website. Okay, so that was a really quick, down and dirty introduction to addition and subtraction math fact fluency and an overview of our website. Lana and Kelly, or Lana, Pam, I see that Kelly gave a shout out to Pam and Lana at KCM for their technical skills. Amazing job on the website. So I want to give that shout out as well. Okay, so almost exactly right on the dot. KCM is here to support you. Contact me. And like I said, that website is very much a work in progress. If you play the games and you have any feedback, or do an assessment and you have any feedback, please contact us and let us know. Love to see some photos of you using the games and the website. So thank you.